What's happening, everybody? Good morning. Good motherfucking Monday morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed the past week's episodes. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about one of our favorite people. Whether you like MMA or you care about fighting or any of that stuff, we watched something. The people who watched the fight this weekend, McGregor versus Poirier, we watched something very interesting happen. We watched a guy whose back was up against the wall, Conor McGregor. Guy whose back is up against the wall, wasn't sure. As fans, we weren't sure what was going to happen if he lost, right? We saw a very calm and cool and collected guy in Dustin Poirier who didn't care what Conor had to say. He knew that Conor's only hope was to snap himself back into that shit-talking guy and that type of thing. And then to see how it ended, to see how the fight ended was super disheartening. It's super sad for anybody who's a Conor fan, and it's becoming harder and harder to be a Conor fan because of he hasn't won and he talks a lot of shit and whatever else. And I lose fucking money on him every time I bet on him. I'm a moron. I'll never learn. I'm still thinking this is the Conor who beat Eddie Alvarez and came back and kind of beat Nate. You know what I'm saying? The reason why I'm bringing it up is because there's a lot to learn from that situation. There's a lot to, even if you don't care about fighting or anything, I would advise anybody who cares, I shouldn't say everybody, but anybody who cares to kind of watch the buildup of that fight, let alone the actual fight, but watch the buildup, watch the, Conor switching into this person that he may be. I mean, he comes in different all the time. Which is a strange concept if you think about it. You know, he doesn't really stick to things other than the way he fights, if that makes sense. Which is unfortunate because that's the thing that everything should be evolving. You follow? But it seems like he's just kind of going back and forth between things in terms of personality and that type of, like, it worked against Cowboy, right? He was friendly with Cowboy. It worked. He went out. He smashed him, which was what's supposed to happen. And then it didn't work against Dustin, so he's like, all right, let's switch back to the dickhead guy. Comes out. He thought that was like his ace in the hole. But it's interesting because he went back and before, when he would talk about how he acted against Khabib, he would say, there was something wrong with me. I was in a bad place and whatever else. And now he's a new person. But it just goes back on everything he says. It's kind of strange. We do that. We do that very often. He's a human. He's a human like all of us. When he first came onto the scene, everything he said, everything he did, they matched up. They don't match up anymore. He's I hate to say he's washed because he's only in his 30s. He got injured, so it's going to take another year off. It's going to take him time, and who knows if people even want to see him come back. Who's he going to fight when he comes back? I mean, he could fight anybody and we'll want to watch, but is he going to win? So what's he going to fight, Nate at 170? I mean, maybe he beats him again. Maybe he doesn't. That's a money fight. Everybody wants to see that, but it's I'm just trying to draw some parallels between that situation and real life because there is a lot to be learned. Because then you see at the end of that fight, it was almost sad. You saw Conor on the ground screaming, like an evil villain, this isn't over. And Dustin's just leaving happy with his wife. Like give it up, bro. You fucked your ankle up. You lost the fight. And then he's screaming, doctor stoppage. Make sure it's a doctor stoppage. I'm like, you shouldn't be worrying about that. Your ankle's broken. You just lost. You were getting your ass beat for the most part. I mean, on the feet, he was doing real well. If we're going to get into the intricacies of the fight. On the feet, he was doing real well. But, he was getting beat up. He was getting beat up on the ground. He was getting close to being stopped. I don't think it needed to be stopped because he was doing well defending and that type of thing. But we saw a lot of the true colors in that fight. We saw a lot of the smoke and mirrors get taken away from the allure or the mystique of Conor McGregor. Just to think that he would look past a guy like Dustin, which he did. If we're being honest, he did it again. We do this all the time as people. We look past our first shit. The first shit that we take, we look right past it. We're ready for our next shit. I'm kidding. Whatever our initial goal is, a lot of us are like, oh, once I accomplish this, then I'll go and do that. No, motherfucker, you got shit to do. You got something to do right now. This guy wanted to go box Manny Pacquiao. He had a whole camp, he always had an excuse. It's another thing we do. We make excuses. Conor, again, we're humans, but it's that we see it on a grand scale, that regular people like us, we can look and we can, take it more than just an event, more than just a sporting event. That's what I do. That's what made Hunter S. Thompson so famous. He would go to events and he would write about things not particularly pertaining to the show, but some other things that were going on, some things in the crowd and the way the athletes may feel and what they're portraying and that type of stuff. I love all that shit. I love trying to figure out, how does this apply to me? How does this whole situation apply to what can I take from this? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you watch Tai Tuivasa knock out a guy who used to beat his wife, and you're like, that's great. There's not really much more meaning to that. You know what I'm saying? There's not really much more. And then he goes and drinks a bunch of beers out of shoes. Like, that's phenomenal. There's nothing else that needs to be taken from that. But to see a figure like Conor go out that way, it was very reminiscent of like an old person who was angry their whole life, and they're toward the end of their life and they had some kind of injury and they blame everyone else around them. Not saying he was blaming everybody or anybody, but they blame. It's just like that old guy. He's like, "Fuck you." It's like what's that movie? Bucket List. Is that what it is? With Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman. Where Nicholson is this rich guy whose family doesn't really love him, or he doesn't love them, vice versa. But he's got all the money in the world. He's not super happy. He has all the luxuries. And then he meets Morgan Freeman, who has damn near nothing. Well, I shouldn't say that. He lives a modest life. Morgan Freeman lives a modest life, but they're both faced with the same dilemma of dying. They have like a year or something left, and they become friends and whatever else. But that beginning character of Jack Nicholson being the bitter kind of more or less crybaby, if we're being honest. That's what Conor looked like. This isn't over. What do you mean it's not over? What do you mean? You got knocked out last time. You're getting beat up this time. It was a closer fight, if we're being honest. Well, you can't really say that because the other one went 2 rounds. Conor arguably won the first round. Nobody gave Conor this last round. I didn't give it to him either, but they said it was a 10-8 round, which is pretty crazy. A couple of judges, they submitted the scorecards, and a couple 10-8s, but it just goes to show you can't look past things. Conor was looking past. He's like, oh, I think we're going to we're going to fight for the belt in Allegiant Stadium. We're going to sell it out. Yeah. How about you focus on this? That's why Dustin beat his ass. Because he's focused. You know how hard it is to focus? Just in general. Forget a fight. Forget the fact that you are going to go murder a guy who's also trying to murder you. You got to negate what he's doing so that you can... Forget that. Forget trying to focus during that. Just try and focus in real life. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize it when you're younger. But focus, like... As a kid, it's almost like, all right, we're locked in. This is all we're going to do. We're going to focus on some sport, some hobby, something. It's so easy to do when you're a child. But as you get older, other things come into play. And it's harder to focus. It's harder to keep the one-track mind because all right, you may have said, okay, I need to save $2,000 this month, and then next month I'll be able to invest here, or I'll be able to buy something I like, or whatever else. Whatever takes discipline and focus, whatever your goal is. And you may say that, and then you get out of work one night, and the boys are going out for a drink, and you haven't gone out for a drink in 3 weeks. You've been saving. You haven't gone out. And you're like, you know what? All you have is a couple $100 to save, and you're like, I saved $800. It's okay. So you go out, you spend close to $200, and then what happens next? You looked past your goal. What happens next? A bill comes up. You get a flat tire. Something happens. The rest of, the money that you saved, now you got to pull out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you stayed the fuck home that night and stuck to your goal, stuck to your focus, then it can happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of those things where it's solely reliant on you. You're the one who has to save the money. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little different from like school or work, where it's like, yes, it's only you, but there's something kind of driving it. Even more so at work. A little less at school, because in college, teachers don't give a fuck. So they're not gonna keep on you, which is right. You're adults. You shouldn't, they shouldn't be down your neck. If they were down your neck in college, believe me, I wouldn't have gone. If it was anything like high school where they bug the shit out of you about things, I definitely wouldn't have gone. But that's where the independence comes in, and the responsibility. But staying focused, staying disciplined. I'm realizing as you get older and different things come into play, it gets harder. It definitely gets harder. Me and my buddy Chris Sandberg were having this conversation the other day. He's been on the podcast. Congratulations to him. He just had his kid. I doubt he listens to the show, but if anybody hasn't said congratulations to him, hit him up. He had a beautiful baby boy. But we were talking about another gentleman that we know, who we've mentioned on the podcast as well, who he's in phenomenal shape. Couldn't decide on the word. Phenomenal. He's in great shape. And the kid works real hard. He gets up real early in the morning, already for work, but he gets up to exercise and trains probably a couple times a day, and he meal preps all the time. And we would, kind of talking to each other, and we're like, and Chris says to me, he's like, yeah, dude, I would do the same thing if I was single. If I wasn't, if I didn't have someone there to kind of convince me to indulge, then maybe I would do the same thing. And I was like, that's a good point. And it's not about saying, hey, let me get out of this, situation, this relationship, this whatever. It's about finding a new discipline, finding a new way to get your discipline. I mean, if it's so detrimental, then leave. But in his terms and in my terms, we're happy. We're happy with the people that we're with. And we still want to be in shape. We still want to be disciplined. Like, we got to be disciplined, you know what I'm saying? But it's got to come from somewhere else. It does. It's got to come from somewhere else. It can't come from just being, you've got to be even more disciplined, because now you have someone that maybe wants to go get ice cream and wants to go out to eat, and, that sense of companionship kind of takes away from the human nature to struggle, to work hard. But that shouldn't be an excuse for you to not struggle and not work hard. You know what I'm saying? I had a similar conversation with my girlfriend. And I was like, I don't do well when people love me. As fucked up as that sounds, I don't do well when people have a genuine love for me, when people have good things to say. I don't take compliments well, and I'm sure there's other people who feel this way. I don't, and there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with me, but there's nothing wrong with you, goddammit. Nothing wrong with you. That's how we always feel, right? There's always something wrong with us, but other people, they're fine. No, I don't do great when I'm in a very loving environment. It's weird. It's like I need to be in a shitty place It's strange. It's very strange. It's because it's comfortable. It's because it's comfortable for a lot of us. A lot of us, it's easy for us to choose unhappiness over happiness. And that's something that we all got to work on. It's something that takes time to switch your brain out of. And there's no real destination date. There's no real ETA. We just have to work. We got to try. You know what I'm saying? And I was explaining this to her. And I'm like, you are the nicest fucking person I've ever met. I feel like I could do no wrong in your eyes. I feel like I am the sexiest man walking. I feel like I have no insecurities, none of that stuff. And that's why I've gotten softer. That is the exact correlation to why I've figured it out. It is the exact correlation to why I'm a soft little bitch. For the most part. I don't want to denounce myself that much because there are some, I don't know, whatever. Skip that thought. That's the reason why sometimes I'm not super disciplined. I'm not. I used to be far more disciplined. You want to know why? Because I was alone and in my room and quiet and you know, all I cared about was proving things to people. And then I skipped past that phase. I skipped past proving to people because if there's anything I've found out, people don't give a fuck. No matter what you prove to them, no matter what happens, your goal shouldn't be to prove anything to anybody other than yourself. You follow? Because if not, then you know your happiness and your sense of achievement is only tied to other people and how they feel about the things that you've done, which is bullshit. That shouldn't be how you live your life. So I skip past that, but I'm still, you know, this is in between the, in between that phase and the relationship phase. Now it's like, okay, I'm enlightened. I don't care about what other people think, but I still care about what I think. I still care that I'm gaining weight. I still care that I'm not doing enough work. These things I care about, you know, and I still care about these things. But now you bring in a third party, right? That's not just yourself saying, hey, you haven't done enough. Hey, you're fat. Hey, you're this. Hey, you're that, which is self-destructive in and of itself. You know what I'm saying? Like that shouldn't be our motivations, but it is. It is for a lot of us. Our insecurities are what motivate us to try different things. And get better at different things. So when those insecurities are wiped, then it's like, why do I need to eat good? You know what I'm saying? I have a beautiful woman that loves me. I don't need to be in shape. I don't need to care about... I got to care about my body still? Ugh. It's crazy because when you're younger, you're like, oh, I don't know how these guys let themselves go. How does that happen? I had a guy tell me, he's like, oh, there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing. And I'm like, oh, yeah, whatever. And now I'm looking at it, I'm like, shit. These guys are it's not that there's nothing you can do about it, but I can see how that happens. I can see exactly how it happens. It's just comfort. It is comfort. That's the thing. Sometimes we find ourselves too comfortable. And I feel, to draw back on the Conor McGregor thing, I feel like he is far too comfortable in his training. And this is just an outside, I'm talking, I'm just talking to talk. I don't know shit about Conor McGregor and how he trains and how he does anything. But it seems to me like he is the boss of what goes on. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't seem like he's being humbled. It doesn't seem like he's bringing in, a coach to tell him, hey, fuck you, we're doing this today, not what you want to do. He's not out catching chickens like Rocky. You follow me? Because it's something that he hasn't done before. It seems to me like he's doing a lot of the same things. He hasn't really evolved. We haven't seen him in the octagon long enough. His career is also an anomaly. It's strange, right? Like he had a phenomenal run at 145. He gets the belt. Then he goes and fights Nate Diaz. He loses. Then he wins by a majority decision. That was the longest we've seen him in the octagon, right? And that was at 170. And then he goes to 155, gets the belt. He goes and fights Floyd. He disappears, comes back to fight Khabib, gets choked out in 4 rounds. And then these past 3 fights have just been quick. He smokes Cowboy, second round KO, first round doctor stoppage. Like, he's kind of an anomaly. And it's strange. It's strange because he had this meteoric rise. And sometimes what's fast don't last, people. That's another thing. That's another thing you can learn from Conor McGregor's career. What's fast don't last. You follow me? Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes something works. But what's fast does not last, man. If that's anything that is probably the biggest thing that we can take from Conor. You got to see the guys who have the slow burns, the guys who stayed at it. That's Dustin Poirier. That guy has been at it. He lost to Conor McGregor, and he's lost, what, one time since? A couple times? I don't even know. He lost to Khabib. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure that might have been one of his last losses. Either way, he took that, and he's been working. He has been working. How many fights has he had since he lost Conor? Since he lost to Conor the first time? 7, 8, 9? I mean, come on. And how many times has Conor fought in the UFC? Maybe half since then, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's probably more than 7 or 8 or 9, if we're being honest. You know what I'm saying? It's probably been a lot more. Actually, I think he got knocked out by Michael Johnson after that. But either way, it don't matter. That guy has grinded. He's had the slow burn. That's why I always say, I favor that. I favor having the longer road. That's what my life's always been. As I told Caroline that a long time ago when we first started talking to each other, I'm like, listen, everything I've done has been extra hard. That's just the way my life is. That's the way some of our lives are. Everything has been extra hard. But you want to know why it makes a difference now? Because later on, you can coast. Not saying that you should. I'm not saying that always happens. But there's opportunities to coast. Think about it. Dustin Poirier, right? He had it hard. He came to the UFC. He was doing well. He got KO'd a couple times. He took some losses, some setbacks. And a fight's a fight, no matter what the fuck it is. It's hard. Fighting somebody is hard, especially at the highest level in the UFC or professional or anything like that. It's hard. But it may be a little easier for him because of the experience, because of the troubled past. You follow what I'm saying? Because of how long it took for him to get to the point that he is. Whereas a guy like Conor, who was more or less given a lot, not denouncing anything he's done great things, but he was given a lot. He was given a lot. To those people, it's easier to see things come and go. You know what I'm saying? It's not everything to them. Conor has so many other endeavors. I'm kind of relating it to a person who was born with a lot of privilege. You know, somebody who was born into a rich family, a famous family, whatever. And they have all these accolades. They have all these, privileges. They have the money, the notoriety. Then, my dad, you know my mom, whatever. I equate that because that person, that kid, things come and go easy for them, if that makes sense. They take a loss. All right, whatever, it hurts, it sucks, but, my dad will get me out of it, my family will get me out of it, my money will get me out of it. And that's really what it is with Conor, you know what I'm saying? His legacy might be shit, but he's worth more money than everybody in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? He's making closer to Dana White money than he is fighter money. You follow? He's an entrepreneur, he's got all these other things going on. But because things come and go easy for them, there's no real value. There's no real value to any of that, which is, fine, I guess. Some people don't care to find value in things. But for someone who had to work for their money, someone who's new money, you know what I'm saying? Someone that's not old money, someone that had to grind from the bottom and get it out the mud and whatever else, they have a new appreciation, so they don't want to go back. They don't want to go back to being a broke motherfucker. Conor was a broke motherfucker too, but he's way richer than everybody else. He is double. He probably got more money to fight Dustin than Dustin did, and he lost. You follow me? And he was the underdog. He was supposed to lose. You know what I'm saying? So, sure, if you get something and you get gifted and you get something fast, find a way to make it work. Conor made it work. Conor made it work. He took everything. He started his companies. He did all this stuff. His legacy in the UFC, he hurt for it. You know what I'm saying? He got the money. But if we're talking about UFC or we're talking about his MMA career, it took a hit. It took a hit because he didn't do the slow burn like everybody else. But again, different strokes for different folks. Different things happen. You know, it's if you're bringing in that kind of money, it's understandable for them to give you some privilege. It's understandable for them to give you what you want because you're the cash cow. But in real life, that doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen. Think about, a big VP of a company, they hire his son. How often do you hear this, right? You might hear this from one of your buddies. Oh, God damn it. We're on the job site and the boss's son, they just hired him and the kid doesn't know nothing. He's half my age and Bob, they don't even listen to you. Nothing but complaints, right? It's because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Just because you're the son of, you know what I'm saying? Just because you're the son of the contractor don't mean you know what you're doing. But you're going to get gifted because you're the owner's son. But the 23-year-old kid that's the same age as him, that's on the work site and he's working, he might leave one day after he's gotten everything he's gotten, right? 10 years, experience, knowledge, clients, all that stuff. He's going to go and he's going to start his own thing. And that kid will build something up. He'll build something up that could possibly, or it doesn't even have to be, but could possibly be greater than the kid. And we judge as humans. A lot of us judge. So those people in those higher positions, the people with the privilege, it's easy for them to judge and talk shit on that guy. Ha, 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 you're working. I didn't have to work. I barely have to work. I'm here 2 hours a day. You're here for 8, 9. Yeah, good. I'm getting my reps in. 8, 9 hours, I'm getting my reps in. You're here for 2 hours. You have a whole backup plan behind you. God forbid your dad says go fuck yourself and the feet are taken out from under you. I'm building something. You are staying in something that's already built. The house is already built. You're just staying in it, buddy. You know what I'm saying? God forbid a hurricane comes through and you don't know what to do. A hurricane takes my shit out. I know how to get it right back. There was when Jordan Belfort was on the Joey Diaz pod, the old one, the Church of What's Happening Now. Joey asked him a question. He's like, I think I know the answer, but when you were in jail, did you know that you could get it all right back? And he said, oh, hell yeah, of course I could. Of course I could. That's the confidence. That's the confidence that comes with being in the trenches, stealing people's money, like Jordan Belfort, That's the confidence that you get when you know that you could make millions and millions of dollars stealing it from people. Right? Anyway, that's... there's a lot to take. I hope I'm not in the minority when I'm one of the people who say that there's a lot to take from everything. If you're not taking something from every situation that you witness or you're a part of or you hear about, there's something to be taken from everything. Damn near everything. Again, everything and always and nothing, those are terms that are kind of loaded. They're loaded terms because then you're just assuming. But my point is there's something to take from everything. Something to take from everything. A movie, a show, a scene, a particular scene in a movie. Entertainment isn't just entertainment. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you watch a baseball game, and in fact, more often than not, those sports, you kind of, it is mostly entertainment. But think about it. Think about when you watch a pitcher, and they're doing a fastball, changeup, and then this ball that I don't know the names, but you're witnessing a gentleman who is faced with a problem, faced with a situation, that has to figure it out with the tools that he's got. He's trying to use his tools that he's bested and sharpened, and he's trying to figure this problem out of the team that's trying to smack one of his balls out of the stadium, get on base. How are we going to prevent this guy from getting on base? Right? That's problem solving. There's something to be learned. Not saying that you should sit there every time the Sox are playing and say, wow, that's very philosophical, the way that they got the runner out at second. That's, oh wow, look at that changeup. That really came from the deep depths of that man's frontal cortex when it comes to making no, none of that shit happens. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you should do that all the time, but there is something to be found. There's always something to be found. There's always something to be learned. Miles Davis said there's music everywhere. There's music everywhere. You're on a basketball court, ba, 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 the feet, you know what I'm saying? Squawk, wee, woo, the sneakers squeaking. I hope that sounded like it was supposed to. But you get the idea. There's something to take from everything. And if you're not taking it, then I don't know. And some of them are easier to spot than others. Like, we see a guy like Conor McGregor go through what he went through. There's something to be found there. There's something to be learned from. You watch a stand-up, a controversial stand-up comedian, like a Dave Chappelle. You can't watch that and say at the end of it, I didn't take any of it. Wow, you can't just say that and watch that and say, wow, that was funny. And that was it. That's it. It was just funny. There's got to be something like, some comedians are just funny, and that's it. But even in them just doing their thing, even in them they've gotten to a point where they're on TV. They have an audience. You know how much self-reflection, how much dedication and focus and all that stuff. You know how long it takes to get to a place where you have a fan base and people want to see you? People come to see you perform. There's something to be taken from that. Just watching a guy doing the nuance. I love nuance. I will watch a video 8 times. I will watch a 3-second portion of a video 8 times in a row just because I love the way the person said this and moved their head and whatever, or the way that we'll go back to Conor. You watch that guy. I'll watch that guy put his feet up on his side of the press conference table. I'll watch him do that after he steals Aldo's thing 1,000 times. Because you're watching a master at work. He is shitting on Aldo. He's ruining that man. You know what I'm saying? Just like a comedian. You watch a guy slowly build and boom, hit you with it. You're like, oh. But some people don't have the care. Some people don't really care to look for that. They don't have the eye either. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're just living a very disempowered life. But no, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about. I kind of wanted to relate some things to Conor getting a raw deal. He lost. I'm not making excuses for him. I'm a fan. Conor fans make excuses for him all the time. He fucking lost. He was getting his ass beat. He broke his ankle. That's it. What can you do? Other than, as a fan, try and take something from it. Try and take something from it. And that's it. That's it, guys. Wasn't the funniest episode, but I had something to say, and that's what I come on here and do sometimes. I'm not always here to be, ha-ha and hee-hee and jokes and whatever else. Sometimes I feel funny. I feel funny. I feel funny in my tummy. Sometimes I'm on here and I want to say some stuff that I thought was hilarious, but today I wanted to say some stuff that I was thinking about. It might not be hilarious, might not even be funny at all, but hopefully you take something from it. And that's what this motherfucking show is about. Take something from it, listen to me talk, and hopefully you relate to it. Somebody relates to it. And I know I've been absolutely neglecting this because sometimes I say things on here and I fucking forget. And I should have said it at the beginning. But make sure you guys follow me and the show. All the links are in the description. Follow my Twitter. Follow my Instagram. That's where most of my updates and all that stuff are on Instagram. Twitter, I'm having a lot of fun with recently. And most importantly, follow the show. Follow the show. Subscribe wherever you listen. Like, comment, share. Do the whole nine. Leave some reviews. Do everything that I'm asking you to do now. And if you need some boxing gloves, head over to obsessiveaggression.com because ain't nobody buying those motherfuckers. But anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day. Great rest of your motherfucking week. It's Monday. There's no need to fuck around. There's no need. Get out there. Get what you got to get done. And I'm going to talk to you guys on Thursday with a lovely episode. Peace.